floor, an official floor vote, and you'll kind of see where we'll come around that way. We'll see exactly where they stand on certain issues there, and I think that's exactly what we're doing. Elise Stefanik is making her way as we wait for President Trump. We're live in South Carolina as well right now as we wait for President Trump to take the stage, but we're certainly glad you're spending some time with us. Elise Stefanik, a congresswoman out of the great state of New York. Welcome.
I'm excited to be here. CPAC, there's lots of energy and enthusiasm.
Well, for one thing, I got to comment on your dress. It's beautiful.
It is really pretty.
Thank you. I'm excited for spring.
Yeah,
so
yes.
brought out the spring colors.
Yes, it'll
in
be
warmer
here before
weather.
You know it.
Yes.
As we wait for President Trump, we've got a live look at South Carolina right now. What is it about his policies right now that is so needed in this day and age of where we're at in this country?
Well, I think voters can compare the weakness and the catastrophes under Joe Biden with the strength and success under President Donald J. Trump. For example, and I talked about this in my speech, we had a booming economy. We had a resurgence in U.S. manufacturing. 15 million Americans lifted out of poverty. This was all under President Trump. Compare that with Joe Biden, the highest rate of inflation in my lifetime. So the economic issues, people are feeling those, and they contrast the failure of Joe Biden with the success of Trump. Another issue that is top of the mind for voters is border and the lack of border security. You have a wide open border under Joe Biden, and people understand that we had the most secure border in our nation's history under President Trump. And it's not just southern border states. I'll tell you, in my district, I have a portion of the northern border between New York and Canada. There's been over a 500% increase in just the past year alone of illegals crossing our northern border. So every district is a border district, every state is a border state, and people get that.
I'm glad you brought that up because we do hear about the southern border a lot, but we do have the northern border that we can't forget about as well. But when it comes to the southern border, which most people, I guess, I don't want to, debunk what you said about Canada, but the southern border, it used to be the southern states that really said that we are in trouble, but now it's every single state, and you're seeing it there. So you're seeing the southern border problem and the northern border problem in New York.
And this is an American problem.
Yes.
This is a catastrophe no matter what state you're from, but certainly our southern border states are facing an invasion across the southern border. If you just compare the sheer numbers, they are so much greater illegally crossing the southern border, but I always point out the impact on the northern border as well. And it impacts us in different ways. I represent Border Patrol officers who have been transferred over and over again to the southern border because of the invasion we're seeing there. But people understand, for example, as illegals are being transferred to New York City and illegals are overrunning, they're assaulting NYPD officers.
Right.
This is now in our communities, in our states, and that's why you're seeing it's not just Republicans who are voting for President Trump, it's independents and some Democrats as well who know we need his strong leadership.
Elise Stefanik joining us on the pre-show for President Trump, waiting for him to step out in South Carolina. Let's talk about inflation real quickly, taxes. New York, inflation and taxes really hits the consumer hard in that state, and Joe Biden's economy and Bidenomics is clearly not working.
Bidenomics has failed, and it is a political catastrophe that the White House is trying to convince the American people that Bidenomics is working. It's offensive because as people are seeing their price of groceries go up, they're seeing their car insurance payments go up. Young families can't even afford to buy a house in Joe Biden's economy. And in New York, we get the double whammy of being one of the highest taxed states in the nation with onerous regulations. That's why you're seeing, unfortunately, a mass exodus from New York State. And on top of this, in terms of the anti-business climate, you have prosecutors, radicalized prosecutors, going against businesses. And I've heard from so many business leaders who are leaving New York State as a result of that.
Mine as well.
Yeah.
What is the vibe
After
there?
the verdict and the judgment, you saw people say, hey, I'm not going to invest in New York City. That's clearly not good for people who live in New York, but what's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that, it's just another chapter in the witch hunt and illegal weaponization of the federal government, of radical prosecutors against Joe Biden's top political opponent. And it's not a coincidence that as Joe Biden is plummeting in the polls, you see more and more of these witch hunt lawsuits, whether it's trying to remove President Trump for the ballot or whether it's this phony prosecution, which there's no victim. All the loans were paid back on time.
Correct.
And the banks would even do it again.
Yes.
And the reality is the business owners, and they've said this to the media, they're saying it to their representatives, they are fleeing New York State because if it can happen to President Trump, it can happen to anyone.
The thing I love about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say on that topic, you know, the truckers saying that we're not coming into New York, we're not making deliveries there. This is affecting everybody. So now it's trickling down to the residents who are feeling the effect of this bogus decision to just go after a political opponent.
Yes, people are smart. The American people are smart. They see through this. They see through these weaponized and radicalized prosecutors who are literally doing the Democrats' bidding. And in the case of the New York Attorney General, this is someone who ran for office explicitly going against President Donald J. Trump. And that was to garner support from the radical far left. And now we're seeing that it's shredding our Constitution along the way. But you're right, people are stepping up, whether it's the truckers, whether it's hardworking Americans who are saying this is wrong.
It is wrong.
Obviously, you're a big part of the impeachment on Mayorkas, so thank you for doing that. But a lot of people said, well, Mayorkas only got his marching orders from, you name it, Joe Biden. So where are we at on an impeachment on Joe Biden? Congressman Gates was here. I want to do a whip check. I want to put the floor for a vote. I want to people put their names on it, because I think we'll see exactly what happened with some of these others that went against impeachment on Mayorkas. But what's your thoughts and possibility of really moving forward with an impeachment on Joe Biden?
I think it's very important that people in the highest office of the land, so the President of the United States, I think it is the most corrupt president we have ever seen and the biggest scandal ever in American politics, and that is the Biden crime family. And were it not for the House Republicans' impeachment inquiry and what we've uncovered, whether it's the hundreds of thousands of dollars that have flowed through Hunter Biden, James Biden, the brothers, illegal deals, that went directly to the coffers of Joe Biden and Jill Biden. So this is real stuff. Bank records don't lie, and we're going to continue making sure that we uncover all of that. Now, bringing votes to the floor, we need to work with every member. We have a very slim majority, but I'm the strongest voice in leadership who has advocated for accountability, and I believe we need to hold Joe Biden accountable, and that is moving forward when he has committed impeachable offenses, which in my opinion he has.
We all love you for that. Just know that. More importantly, we want to keep you in office. So, always say, hey, you've got to donate. You got to, campaign financing and getting your name out there and keeping fighting is a big important thing. How can people donate to your campaign?
Go to EliseForCongress.com and just know that as the House Republican Conference Chair, we're supporting strong conservatives and Republicans across the country who support President Trump and who will hold and grow this House majority so that we can flip the Senate, get President Trump back in the White House, have a Republican House, and deliver good conservative wins.
Amen to that. No, final question. New mom, how's the baby? How's motherhood right now?
Well, he is 2.5. Sam, he is my pride and joy.
That's great.
A toddler. He's very energetic, very smart, and I'm teaching him the Pledge of Allegiance, so he almost has that down. Yes, and I'm so proud. At 2, he knows the Pledge of Allegiance, so I'm so honored to be a mom. That's the most important title I have in my life.
We got to get him that free TrumpBook.com, that little cart.
As well.
You do?
Yes.
All right.
It's an energetic age.
There you go.
An energetic
We're
age.
tossing perfect
It's
time, and
everything.
President Trump is walking out right now here in Rock Hill. Take it away.